Hi, this is Steve with Icovia, and this is a tutorial that should help you set up your Icovia Real Estate Edition with interactive floor plans. What you see in front of you on your screen is how Icovia Real Estate Edition launches from the URL that your project manager will provide you after you sign up for our service. When you first launch the program, it'll come into this Browse Properties window, which will show you any properties that you currently have published. When your actual planner launches, it's likely that you won't have any properties in here, but maybe just a sample property. I'm going to cancel out of this to show you how to log in as the appropriate user type and begin creating interactive floor plans. So first I cancel that window. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to log in. There's three user types with Icovia Real Estate Edition. There's the end user that can just browse the floor plans, and then there's an architect and an admin user type, and these are just names we use. For some large organizations, they can have architects that can create multiple plans and properties, but an admin is needed to publish those properties, and I'll explain a little bit more about that later. An admin user type has all the abilities of an architect, plus the ability to create architect licenses. So I'm going to log in as an admin, and I'm going to show you how to create and publish plans with Icovia Real Estate Edition. So I first log in with my username and my password that will be supplied by the project manager. And you'll see the screen change. One, it tells you that you're logged in and who you are. And you'll also notice that there's some changes to the interface. Some of the tools up here, there's some new ones that aren't available to end users. And that's because as an admin, you need the ability to create some floor plans, which an end user doesn't. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the Manage Property screen. In the Manage Property screen, you'll notice that there's a lot more properties listed here than you see on the Browse Property screen. And that's because there's various properties in different states, and I'm sorting these right now. All of these are in the created state, and you have some that are in the published state. When the application first launched, it only showed you the properties in the published state. And that just gives you an opportunity to better manage the properties that you're creating in Icovia that you may not yet want to publish for the public to see. So there's other things you can do from this screen. We're not going to go into all of that right now, but I do want to close this and show you how to create a new property from scratch. So under the File menu, I'll come up here to Property, and I'll say New Property. This is your new property screen. You'll notice property name and listing number both have asterisks. Those are required. So I'm just going to put in a sample listing number. In this case, I'll put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the property name will be Tutorial Property. Now, a couple of things. The information in these fields right here provide your end user, in this case the property URL, links to that property listing. So that if someone is in one of your interactive floor plans and they click on the property details button, it will launch a new window and go to this URL. So we have another screen open here that I want to show you. I'm going to go to a new window. This is just a sample property listing that we've created. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the URL of this listing out of the window. I'm going to go back to the Icovia application, and I'm going to paste in that URL. And that will appear, I'll show you after you enter this basic information, that'll appear over here in the application with a picture of the property and a link that'll take you off to that listing page. That's important because end users can share plans, they can email them to each other, and so your interactive floor plans may not always be launched from the listing, and you want to link them back to that information. Now I'm going to put in a couple other things. These are essentially the same. This is where you want to put in a picture or a photo of that property URL that will appear on the application for that listing. And one's just a larger photo, and one's a smaller thumbnail photo. You don't necessarily have to put in two different images. Icovia will resize that for you. But what you do is you find a picture of that property that you like. In this case, I think this is a good thumbnail to use on that property. And we're on a Macintosh operating system. We're on an Apple, so on an Apple, it's a control click. On Windows operating system, it would be a right click. You can copy that image address, and when you go back to Icovia, you can paste that information in here. And I'm going to paste the same image in for both. If you really wanted to manage it better, you could create a smaller thumbnail. Well, that's not necessarily required. Once you've pasted the URL into either one of these fields, you can see what the image will look like. Make sure you've got the one you like just by hitting the preview button, and it'll pop that up and show you a nice picture of that house. But there's two other blocks of information you should know about. There's the agent information over here, and then there's the property details information. The agent information over here is important because it will display to the user the agent's information, which is important. And so I'm putting this in here, and you obviously want to put in your contact information. And then your email address is very important, because when someone chooses to schedule a viewing, or when they save a plan, or when they print a plan, that is what we call a lead generation event. What that means is a user is required to register to either save, print, share, or schedule viewing on that floor plan. And that'll generate an automated alert that is emailed to whatever email address you have in here. So you want to make sure you have a good email address of the agent for that property. Larger organizations will need to put the agent's email information in there. And if you're an agent yourself creating this, you just put your own email address. The next chunk of information we want to talk about is these fields right here. This is what will appear on the property details pop-up window within the application. And I'm going to show you all of this in a minute. But let's just put a price in. You don't need to put in any dollar signs, but let's just say that this house is worth that amount. It's 1,200 square feet. It's got 5 rooms. It's got 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. Building type is, we'll go with brick. And if you want to put a long description, this is a lovely house you should come see. Now, that'll all appear in a second when I hit save, but I wanted to just point out these two other areas. This is the status of the property, and it needs to be in the published state before you can have it live on your listings. But there's some other states here that allow you to manage. If you have a lot of properties you're trying to create, you can manage various states of them. You can unpublish something or archive it, maybe if you've sold it, but you don't necessarily want to delete it. So let's leave it as created for now. And this screen right here indicates the number of floors that you may have in this house. And the house we're going to do will have 2 floors, and you'll see those. So I'm going to hit save.